Hey everybody, and welcome back to Ghost Club. Cue the intro. I'm just gonna dive right into this one. Now, the story I'm about to tell you today is a little bit of a roller coaster. First, you'll be like this, and then you'll be like this, and you may even end up like this. I got my degree in acting for that moment right there, so I hope you enjoyed it. So, back to the story. Last week, I got a call from my friend. She told me that there was an abandoned house beside her apartment and we had to go check it out. She claims that an old lady died in the house about 6 months ago, and it was set to be demolished, but due to COVID, the demolition was actually set back. So that's the reason why the house is still standing there. So this house sits in the middle of a street with apartment buildings to the left, to the right, front and back. And the plan is that they're gonna build another apartment complex once they demolish the house. And she told me that the house still had a bunch of belongings from the lady who used to live there before. All that stuff was still in there. And there was also talk of people from the surrounding apartments going into her house after she died and taking out her furniture and all of her valuables, which did make me curious why her family didn't go into the house and collect all of her valuables before all that happened. But we're gonna get to that part later on in the story. So at the time she told me all this, my head was just that this seems like a good location to conduct an investigation. And that investigation took a twist. So we head over to the house the next day and you can literally just walk in the front door. But right off the bat, I was actually really shocked because the place was completely ransacked. And the place was clearly a hotspot for drug addicts because there was a lot of drug paraphernalia lying about the place. But I decided to carry out my investigation regardless. So here is the footage from when we first entered the house. So, I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. I honestly thought that we were just going to conduct a little mini investigation. We were going to be in and out of the house and I would never return again. But that couldn't have been further from what was about to happen. Now, if you guys noticed, there was a lot of photos lying about in that footage. And the fact that this woman had so many photos of family and friends, I really couldn't wrap my head around why her family or friends didn't come and pick those photos up. There were literally photo albums upon photo albums, and clearly the things that rummagers don't want, they just want all the valuable stuff. But honestly, like every minute that I stayed in that house, the sadder I felt. And it didn't really seem like a typical investigation that I'm used to. It didn't really feel abandoned. I honestly felt like I was just standing in an elderly woman's house that had just been robbed. So I wanted to know a little bit more about her, so I started looking for clues. And here's what I found. So we don't know her name. I don't, like... I'm sure we can find her name somewhere in here. Anne? There's an Anne. Anne, is that your name? Oh my god, look. What? Anne? When you asked that, what? I literally just saw this. It says Anne on it. It's a post-it note with Anne on it. It's got to have been her name. Huh. So it sounds like her name is Anne. Oh my god. There's another post-it in here that just says Anne. 1999. think that maybe as well, one of my theories is maybe that she had dementia, because here's some like instructions on like how to use the VCR. Yeah. Radio.
Yeah, because...
And it tells you how to turn the radio on and stuff like that. So I think that she was an older lady that did have dementia.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, somebody cared enough to type it out for her.
Yeah, she probably had a caregiver and stuff. Yeah.
But then why just leave all this stuff? Like, why not have an estate sale?
Here's like instructions for the TV remote and everything. Man.
I know.
I just started to get a really heavy feeling, like sad. Like,
No, I feel sad. Like that, like...
So I'm pretty sure that she did have dementia from all the papers that were around the house with the instructions on how to use the radio or how to use the TV. And I also know she was old. And I also found a bunch of Disney memorabilia as well. And I know that she traveled a lot because I found a bunch of maps from Europe and a lot of books as well. And at this point, I'm certain her name is Anne from all the post-it notes around the place. But my camera picked up on other evidence that very may well prove that her spirit is still in the house. So here's that footage. I don't know.
Sparkling cider, that's so sweet. That's just...
I'm hearing noises coming from over here. Okay, hey, I'm gonna do this right now if you wanna do this.
Okay.
Wait. You hear that? Film over here.
No, I'm scared.
Okay, let me film then.
Okay.
Okay, hey, I'm gonna do this right now if you wanna do this.
Okay.
Wait. You hear that? Film over here.
No, I'm scared.
Okay, let me film then.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got scared.
I'm hearing noises coming from over this way.
I'm sorry. I got scared.
I'm hearing noises coming from over this way. Just as we were about to conduct an EVP session. Did you hear that?
Yep, I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yep, I heard that. That's...
It was like a whistle or like a singing.
Yup.
Wait, no, don't leave. I wonder if the camera picked that up.
I heard something move back there.
Conduct an EVP session too with Anne. Anne, was that you over there that made that noise? If you're here with us, can you make another noise, please? Did you hear that?
Bye.
No, Nicole.
Why? Hi.
I heard that. It was over there. Okay, hold on. Well, she's here.
I know. Hi. I'm so sorry what people have done to your house.
It is stinky in here. It is stinky in here. Anne, if you're here in this room with me, can you... Anne, if you're here in this room with me, can you... Are you making noises over there, Nicole?
No.
Okay, just heard a noise.
I'm only doing this because I love you.
Is your name Anne? Are you here with us, Anne?
Boy!
Now, I didn't actually pick up on those disembodied voices until the next day when I was editing that footage. And if you follow me on Instagram, Ghost Club Paranormal, you probably saw how devastated I was after I lost 16 hours worth of footage. That's right, I spent all day and all night editing that footage, and the second I went to save, my software crashes, which has never happened before. So I went to bed that night and I cried myself to sleep, and I told myself that I was going to take a day off the next day. But for some reason, the next day when I was just chilling and I felt like I had missed something from the footage previously, so I went back onto my laptop and I was looking through the footage again, and then I noticed from a shot that was in the bedroom, there was a Disneyland pass sitting on the bedroom table, but it wasn't the name Anne that was on the Disneyland pass. The name was Elizabeth. So I take a long shot and Google the name and nothing comes up. I took an even longer long shot and I Facebooked the name, and I actually got a result for the name. And I knew it was her because I could match her Facebook photos to the photos from the video footage. So that Facebook page is actually like a remembrance page now, so I'm pretty sure I found my gal. So when I headed over to Ancestry.com, I was actually able to find out a few more interesting things about her. So from there, I found out that she did work at Disney and she was also a dancer. And what was really cool was I found this newspaper article that was from 1961, and it was basically when they were planning to build all of those apartments around her house. It says, Elizabeth said she bought her land to live on, not to speculate with. The neighborhood would be ruined by transient apartment renters and increased traffic. So she didn't sound very happy about it. So Elizabeth, she was actually living in an apartment in Hollywood, and she bought this house when she was 28 years old. So big purchase for a 28-year-old. And at that time, it was just one house. The house is about, I would say, 1,000 square feet, maybe just a little bit over that. And there was no apartments. It was just a sweet little suburban street in LA. When they started building the apartments around her house, I mean, you could only imagine how sad it is to see all of your neighbors' houses being demolished. And they were replacing them with like 20-foot apartments on each side of her. But she stood her ground though and didn't accept any offers, and that was her house and she was going to stay there whether the apartments were there or not. Hence why it's literally the only house on the street, just sandwiched by apartments, and you can barely even notice it, to be honest. Which just honestly, it makes it 10 times sadder that the people that she didn't want to live next to anyway are now going into her house and taking her valuables and disrespecting her space. But yeah, so anyway, I've done a little bit more digging and I actually found out that her parents are from Germany and she is first generation in the US. Then I found passenger and crew documents from the 50s where her and her parents would travel back to Germany. So at this point, it's clear to me that her family live in Germany. Now, due to the pandemic though, there's actually no flights from Europe to the US, and I know this because I'm from Scotland and my whole family are over in Scotland. And my nana, she's actually in hospital right now over in Scotland, and she has dementia, and I would love to be over there with her. And these might be her last few months, and her house is just sitting there untouched, but luckily I do have family over there looking after the house. So I know that they can keep an eye on things and everything like that, but what if they weren't there? I would be absolutely mortified that people are going through her house and taking all of her valuables and taking things that she worked so hard for. But side note, honestly, I really wasn't thinking when I went into the house. I really had no business being there. But when I got there, I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna be as respectful as possible, and this is all for paranormal research purposes. But when I started putting the pieces of her life together, I really started to think this is a real woman, like she had a life. That's when I decided that I was gonna reach out to her family in Germany and hopefully somebody could get back to me. So I find her nephew on Facebook and I decided to message him. And it was weird because I had to kind of explain that, hey, I was in your auntie's house and just letting you know it's set to be demolished and there are a lot of family photos in there I think you guys might want to keep. And then a couple of days later, I actually get a response from his wife because she's better at English, and they were so thankful They were so thankful that I reached out to them. And she told me that she was a lovely woman. They hung out regularly before the dementia, and she didn't marry and she didn't have any kids, so there was nobody there to pick up the stuff. And she pretty much outlived all of her friends too, which is crazy because what his wife was telling me was the last year of her life, dementia really hit her hard and they just didn't even really have any contact with her. But well into her 80s though, like she was a proper active woman. And they also told me that she was from Jersey City and she moved to Hollywood at a really young age to become a dancer at Disney Studios. Wild. And then apparently she would always come and visit them in Germany and stuff like that as well. She had a lot of friends and family over in Germany. So after we had this conversation, they did ask me if I could return back to the house and kind of recover some of those family photos for them to send them over to Germany. So yesterday I went back to the house. So when I entered the house yesterday, I made it very apparent when I was in there. I was speaking to her and I was telling her I'm here for a good cause. I was telling her everything that I was doing. And oddly enough, the vibe of the house that time was so different from last time I went in. It felt really peaceful and inviting, and last time I was there it just felt heavy and sad. I was actually there for 2 hours yesterday just gathering up all the pictures, and I went through all of the albums, but I mainly just took the ones that said Germany or like trips to Europe because I knew that they would be going back to those families. It was really when I got home though that I was looking through these albums and there was literally everything was labeled, from the names of people in all of these photos and every single landmark that she went to, where she ate lunch. So that made it super easy to find the pictures of her nephew who I was talking to, and these are photos of like him and his brother from like when they were like super young and stuff like that. So I sent him a couple of pictures from my phone and he was just so happy that I'd done that. I was able to look up those names on Facebook, all of her friends and family, and I've actually found some people on our Facebook friend list that I have now sent those photos to, and these are photos that they didn't even know that existed. So at this point, like everybody's mind is blown, and I'm like super into it too. Like I love investigating, like I love looking into this kind of stuff. Her attention to labeling and details was so amazing, and I just need to show you guys. Like I just really want to honor her legacy and show you guys just how cool this chick was. First off guys, this is her high school yearbook from 1950, and if you open it up, there's all these little notes from her school friends. So one thing I noticed about this is if you look here, you'll actually see it says deceased, died 2006. So she was actually documenting her schoolmates' deaths as well, which is actually really sad. Man, these are so old school though. People just do not look this way anymore. Also in Scotland you don't get yearbooks, so this is this is just all new to me. It's so cool. So this is her here. So this is Elizabeth when she was 18, and this is her yearbook photo. And I'm covering her last name just to protect the family, but it does say here that she was a member of the typing club, GAA, I'm not too sure what that is, the swimming team, and it says lovable Liz, whizzes through business machine like a flying saucer, tops on basketball court, brightens any place. When it says 1992 Germany, Paris and Euro Disney. She was a huge Disney fan. And this is her little agenda. But can you see how everything is labeled so precisely? This must have taken her hours to do. I wanted to do some comparison shots, some side-by-side shots. So this photo here is her dining room, and this is the one that I took when I was there. You can see she hasn't actually changed much of the decor at all from when she first had it way back in the 60s. So here is a photo of her mum. Looks like it's maybe Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And then I just wanted to do a little side-by-side shot of how it looks now. So this is just a photo that I took on my phone. Now this page is interesting because the label reads apartments across the street, and this was from 1987. And if you see here, she's even taken photos of the houses, her neighbours' houses being demolished. These are all just the bricks that were left. This is the new apartment that is across the street. And here it looks like a fence from her neighbours got knocked down. And another thing that is just funny to me, because she really did document everything. This is new gas line, 1985. She even documented getting a new gas line put in. These are the pictures of her car, which I'm actually super jealous about. This is her house here. What it used to look like. Now it's all boarded up, of course. So this picture is what the houses looked like. This was her view from across her street. And so from this picture here, then turned into this picture here. This was the new apartments that were built. So this album here is definitely my favorite album. Not only are the photos preserved with wax paper, but these are all photos from her youth. Okay, so this is her with Mark Damon. So random. Just hanging out in Mark Damon's apartment, you know, no big deal. And then on the other side we have a signed picture of Mark Damon with a little Christmas card to her, which I think is so cute. That's from 1957. I don't know if they dated or something. More pictures of Mark Damon. And I love her little captions too. Gotta admit, I think that this is my favorite photo of her. It sure was a rough day. I feel you, girl. This is how I know that she had an apartment in Hollywood. So this was her apartment complex. And it even says my door right there. Now, I know that she didn't marry or anything like that, but this is the only sign of her being in a relationship. And these photos are just so beautiful. They're just so timeless. So, to sum it up, I really feel like I stumbled across this beautiful time capsule in this house. I was not expecting that whatsoever. And I think that these photos are so much more valuable than anything that was taken out of that house. And I'm just so thankful that they're going back to their rightful owners. But here's the thing though, I don't think that me losing that edited footage was actually an accident at all. Because if I didn't lose that footage, then I would have literally just uploaded the video and then that would have been it and I would have just went on with my life. But something told me, look at the footage again. And there really was a story to be told, and I'm just so happy that there was an ending to it all. And I just feel like now Elizabeth can be at peace and her soul can rest knowing that those photos are with her family. So if you got to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Please be a good person, like, subscribe. Until next time, bye guys.